Hello, I'm Josh Yarden from the American Hebrew Academy. I'm on the faculty of Judaic Studies here, and I also teach Hebrew. There are several reasons I'm very interested in the Great Jewish Book Seminar. First of all, when I came to the Academy, one of the classes I was asked to teach is on Jewish literature with a focus specifically in Yiddish authors, which was a bit of a surprise to me. It's not really my area of expertise or where I have experience teaching. I've always been interested in tying in literature or short story or poetry occasionally, but my background is really more in history and Judaic thought, Israel studies, Middle Eastern studies, educational theory. So the large majority of what I've read and what I've written is really in nonfiction. It really occurred to me, though, when I was asked to teach this class, well, it makes sense that the way that I'm going to have the time and devote the energy and the thought to the study of literature is if I'm going to be teaching it. So it was a bit of a blessing in disguise. I also have a kind of a personal relationship with the material that I haven't investigated very much. My great-grandfather, for who I was named, was something of a Yiddish author. I've never really been able to read much of his work. I've read snippets that were translated, but most of his work exists in an archive in YIVO. I really don't know much about the quality of it. I did share some of it with a colleague of mine in Israel, an older fellow who wrote in Yiddish, and he was very impressed by the language. He said, I can't begin to translate it into Hebrew for you, because it's so sort of steeped in Yiddish and Yiddishisms and the wordplay, which was a really interesting thing for me to observe, because that's sort of the character of my writing in a sense in Hebrew and English, where I'm really focused on the nature of the words and the wordplay and ambiguity, and that's something that I often investigate in the biblical narrative when I'm teaching biblical stories. So I felt this sort of strange connection with this material that I can't read, written by a relative who I never met. So in a sense, it's a bit of a personal journey, and I'll be bringing some of his writing in Yiddish to class just to show it to the kids and say, you know, there's this literature from a time gone by, written by a relative of mine who passed away before I was born. Should we care about it? Should we read it? Is it important to translate it, or is that world gone, and should we let that literature go? So that's kind of a challenge question I'll be bringing at the beginning of the course as we investigate a variety of writers. For me, it's an opportunity to immerse myself in the literature and also to become familiar with pedagogical techniques that are used by people who are more familiar with teaching in the field. I love the idea of creating more of a professional network with teachers who focus on literature, studying with people whose real main professional focus is teaching literature. And the connection between literature and history is so obvious, but you know, the way we often teach has such clear delineations between areas that we've defined as certain kinds of disciplines. So this is also a great opportunity for me to just expand the extent to which I teach from a cross-disciplinary or multidisciplinary perspective. I put so much emphasis on the writing, on students' writing, that it makes sense to be able to show them great literature and not just historical writing or theoretical writing or articles or essays. So this really seems like a great opportunity for me. I hope that it works out, and I'm looking forward to it, and looking forward to getting to know a lot of people who are interested and dedicated to this as well. Thank you.